First contact. The massive view screen aboard the Earth ship Horizon flickered to life, revealing a sight that made Captain Sarah Chen's breath catch in her throat. An alien vessel hung in the inky void of space, its sleek, silvery hull gleaming under the light of a distant star. After centuries of wondering if humanity was alone in the universe, they finally had their answer. "Status report," Chen ordered, her voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. Her first officer, Commander Jack O'Neill, responded without taking his eyes off the alien ship. "All systems nominal, Captain. No signs of aggressive posturing from the alien vessel. They're just sitting there." Dr. Amelia Zhao, the ship's lead xenobiologist, couldn't contain her excitement. "This is incredible. Look at the design of their ship. It's unlike anything we've ever theorized. The implications for their level of technology are staggering." Chen nodded, allowing herself a small smile. "Let's not get ahead of ourselves, Doctor. First, we need to establish communication." She turned to her communications officer. "Lieutenant Park, any progress on deciphering their language?" Park shook his head, frustration evident in his voice. "Nothing yet, Captain. Their transmissions are like nothing we've ever encountered. It's not just a different language. It's a completely alien form of communication." As if on cue, the alien ship began to pulse with a soft, blue light. Patterns danced across its hull, creating mesmerizing sequences that seemed to defy logic. Dr. Zhao gasped. "Captain, I think they're trying to communicate through light patterns." Chen raised an eyebrow. "Can you decipher it?" "Not yet, but give me some time. I think I can crack this," Zhao replied, her fingers flying over her console as she began to analyze the patterns. Hours passed as the crew of the Horizon worked tirelessly to establish communication with the alien vessel. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, Dr. Zhao let out a triumphant shout. "I've got it. Captain, I've deciphered their basic communication protocol." Chen leaned forward in her chair. "Excellent work, Doctor. What have you learned?" Zhao's eyes sparkled with excitement as she explained. "They call themselves the Zarketh. Their language is based on complex mathematical equations expressed through light patterns. It's brilliant, really. Once you understand the underlying principles, it's actually quite elegant." "Can we communicate back?" Chen asked. Zhao nodded. "I believe so. I've programmed our external lights to emit patterns that should convey basic greetings and peaceful intentions." Chen took a deep breath. This was it. Humanity's first real interaction with an alien species. "Do it," she ordered. The Horizon's hull lit up, pulsing with intricate patterns of light. For a tense moment, nothing happened. Then the alien ship, the Zarketh vessel, responded with its own series of lights. "They're inviting us aboard their ship," Zhao translated, her voice filled with wonder. Chen stood, straightening her uniform. "Well then, let's not keep our new friends waiting. Commander O'Neill, Dr. Zhao, you're with me. Lieutenant Park, you have the con." As Chen and her small team prepared to board the alien vessel, she couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and trepidation. They were about to step into the unknown, to become the first humans to set foot on an alien ship. The implications for humanity were enormous. The Zarketh ship's docking bay was a marvel of engineering. Sleek, organic shapes flowed seamlessly into each other, creating an environment that was both alien and strangely beautiful. As Chen and her team stepped off their shuttle, they were greeted by 3 Zarketh. The aliens were tall, easily 7 feet in height, with slender, almost ethereal bodies. Their skin shimmered with an iridescent quality, changing colors subtly as they moved. Most striking, however, were their eyes, large, multifaceted organs that seemed to take in every detail of their surroundings at once. One of the Zarketh stepped forward, its body pulsing with soft light patterns. Dr. Zhao quickly translated. "Welcome, beings of Earth. We are the Zarketh, custodians of the Galactic Archives. We have long awaited this moment. the emergence of your species into the greater galactic community. Chen stepped forward, bowing slightly. On behalf of humanity, we thank you for your welcome. We come in peace and with a desire to learn. The Zarketh's lights pulsed again. Your desire for knowledge is admirable. Come, we have much to show you. As they followed the Zarketh deeper into the ship, Chen couldn't shake the feeling that they were being studied just as intently as they were studying their hosts. The alien technology surrounding them was far beyond anything humanity had achieved, yet there was something off about it all. They were led to a vast chamber filled with swirling holograms and pulsating energy fields. The lead Zarketh gestured around the room, its lights flickering rapidly. This is but a small part of the Galactic Archives. Zhao translated. Here, we store the collected knowledge of thousands of species across millions of years. O'Meal whistled low. Incredible. The amount of scientific knowledge here must be staggering. The Zarketh's lights dimmed slightly. Indeed. Yet we find ourselves puzzled by your species. Chen frowned. Puzzled? How so? The alien's lights pulsed in what seemed to be a sigh. Your planet, Earth, it should not be capable of supporting life as complex as yourselves. The gravitational forces, the atmospheric composition, the levels of background radiation. By all of our understanding, your world is a death world. Yet not only have you survived, but you have thrived and developed spacefaring technology. Dr. Zhou's eyes widened. Are you saying that humans are anomalies? The Zarketh's lights flickered in affirmation. You are unique among all the species we have encountered. Your physiology, your thought processes, even your basic scientific principles seem to defy our understanding of the universe. Chen felt a chill run down her spine. The implications of what the Zarketh were saying were enormous. Humanity wasn't just new to the galactic stage. They were fundamentally different from every other known species. We would like to propose a joint research initiative. The Zarketh continued, to study the unique properties of your species and your understanding of the universe. Perhaps together, we can unlock new secrets of existence itself. Chen exchanged glances with her team. This was far beyond what they had expected from first contact. The potential benefits were immense, but so were the risks. They would be sharing humanity's knowledge with an alien species they barely knew. We appreciate your offer, Chen said carefully, but we would need to consult with our government before agreeing to any such initiative. This is a decision that affects all of humanity. The Zarketh's lights pulsed in understanding. Of course, we would expect nothing less. Please, take the time you need to discuss this with your leaders. We will await your decision. As they prepared to return to the horizon, Chen's mind was racing. They had come seeking first contact, and instead had found that humanity itself was an anomaly in the galaxy. Whatever came next, she knew that the universe would never be the same. Back aboard the horizon, Chen called an emergency meeting with her senior staff. The room was buzzing with excitement and apprehension as she relayed what they had learned from the Zarketh. So let me get this straight, Lieutenant Park said, his brow furrowed. These aliens think we're some kind of super beings. Dr. Zhao shook her head. Not exactly. They're saying that according to their understanding of physics and biology, we shouldn't exist. Our very existence challenges their fundamental scientific principles. Commander O'Neill leaned back in his chair, a thoughtful expression on his face. You know, this could explain a lot. Why we never detected any alien signals, why we seem to be alone in the galaxy. If most habitable planets are nothing like Earth, then the kind of life that evolves there would be completely different from us. The question is, Chen said, bringing the discussion back to the matter at hand, do we agree to this joint research initiative? The potential benefits are enormous, but so are the risks. Dr. Zhou's eyes lit up. Captain, this is the opportunity of a lifetime. Think of what we could learn, not just about the Zarketh, but about ourselves and our place in the universe. O'Neill, ever the pragmatist, raised a cautionary hand. We need to be careful. We know nothing about these aliens or their true intentions. For all we know, this could be an elaborate trap to study and then neutralize a potential threat. Bus. Chen nodded, considering both perspectives. You both make valid points. Lieutenant Park, what's the status of our communication with Earth? Park consulted his datapad. We've sent a full report of our encounter through the quantum entanglement communicator. Given the time dilation, we should receive a response from the United Earth government within the next 12 hours. Very well, Chen said, standing up. Until we receive further instructions, we'll continue to engage in cultural exchange with the Zarketh. Dr. Zhao, I want you to lead a team in studying their scientific databases. See if you can make sense of the discrepancies they mentioned. Commander O'Neill, discreetly assess their military capabilities. I want to know what we're dealing with if things go south. As the meeting adjourned, Chen couldn't shake the feeling that they were standing on the precipice of something monumental. Humanity had dreamed of this moment for centuries. First contact with an alien civilization. But no one had ever imagined it would happen quite like this. The next few hours were a flurry of activity. Dr. Zhao and her team pored over the scientific data shared by the Zarketh, their excitement growing with each new discovery. Commander O'Neill, meanwhile, led a series of cultural exchanges that were thinly veiled attempts to gauge the aliens' technological and military capabilities. Chen found herself in her ready room, staring out at the stars and the alien ship that hung among them. The weight of responsibility on her shoulders felt heavier than ever. The decisions made in the next few days could shape the future of humanity for generations to come. A soft chime interrupted her thoughts. Captain, Lieutenant Park's voice came over the comm. We're receiving a transmission from Earth. Chen took a deep breath, steeling herself. Put it through to my ready room. The view screen flickered to life, revealing the stern face of Admiral Helena Graves, the head of the United Earth Space Command. Captain Chen, she said, her voice crisp and authoritative. We've reviewed your report. The implications are staggering. Chen nodded. Yes, Admiral. We're still trying to process it all ourselves. Graves leaned forward, her eyes intense. The Security Council has debated this matter at length. We've decided to authorize the Joint Research Initiative with the Zarketh, but with conditions. Understood, Admiral. What are the conditions? First, all research is to be conducted aboard the Horizon or on Earth. We're not comfortable with our scientists working on an alien vessel at this stage. Second, we want full transparency. All findings are to be shared equally between our species. And third, Graves paused, her expression grave. You are to prioritize the protection of Earth's interests above all else. If at any point you suspect the Zarketh of hostile intentions, you are authorized to take whatever actions you deem necessary to protect humanity. Chen felt the weight of those words settle on her shoulders. Understood, Admiral. We'll proceed with caution. As the transmission ended, Chen took a moment to collect her thoughts. They were about to embark on a scientific journey unlike any in human history. But as she looked out at the alien ship, a small voice in the back of her mind whispered a warning. What if the Zarketh were right? What if humans truly were anomalies in the galaxy? And if so, what did that mean for their future among the stars? With a deep breath, Chen straightened her uniform and headed for the bridge. It was time to inform the Zarketh of their decision. Whatever came next, humanity was about to take its first real steps into a larger, stranger universe than they had ever imagined. The experiment begins. The following weeks aboard the Horizon were a whirlwind of activity. The ship had been transformed into a hub of interspecies scientific collaboration, with human and Zarketh researchers working side by side in hastily assembled laboratories. The air buzzed with excitement and tension in equal measure. Captain Sarah Chen stood in the observation deck, watching as a team of human and Zarketh scientists huddled around a complex apparatus. Dr. Amelia Zhao was at the center, her hands moving animatedly as she explained something to her alien counterparts. Commander Jack O'Neill approached, standing beside Chen. It's still hard to believe, isn't it? He said, nodding towards the group. Chen nodded. Every time I see them working together, I have to remind myself this isn't a dream. O'Neill's expression turned serious. Any update on the research progress? Dr. Zhao is set to begin the first major experiment today, Chen replied. She says it could be a breakthrough in understanding the discrepancies between our physics and the Zarkeths. As if on cue, Dr. Zhou's voice came over the comm. Captain, Commander, could you join us in Lab 3? We're ready to begin. Chen and O'Neill exchanged glances before heading to the lab. As they entered, they were greeted by a scene of organized chaos. Human and Zarketh scientists moved about the room, making last-minute adjustments to various instruments. At the center stood a device that looked like a cross between a particle accelerator and a lava lamp. Dr. Zhao approached them, her eyes bright with excitement. Captain, Commander, thank you for coming. We're about to start the experiment. What exactly are we looking at, Doctor? Chen asked. Eyeing the strange device, Zhao launched into an explanation, her words coming fast in her enthusiasm. We've designed this apparatus to test the fundamental differences between our understanding of physics and the Zarkeths. It's a quantum field manipulator capable of altering the very fabric of space-time on a microscopic scale. O'Neill raised an eyebrow. Sounds dangerous. Oh, it's perfectly safe, Zhao assured him. We're only manipulating a volume of space smaller than an atom, but the implications could be enormous. One of the Zarketh scientists, who had introduced himself as Ganthor, pulsed with light patterns. Zhao quickly translated. Ganthor says that according to their physics, the experiment should produce a stable quantum field with predictable properties. But based on our calculations, you expect something different, Chen finished for her. Zhao nodded. Exactly. If we're right, this could be the first step in understanding why our Deathworld physics behaves so differently from the rest of the galaxy. Chen took a deep breath. Very well, Doctor. You may proceed. The room fell into a hushed silence as Zhao and Xanthor began the experiment. The strange device hummed to life, its central chamber filling with a swirling, iridescent mist. Data streams flowed across multiple screens, showing readings that meant little to Chen, but had the scientists murmuring in excitement. Suddenly, the mist in the chamber began to pulse and swirl more violently. Xanthor's lights flashed in what seemed to be alarm. What's happening? Chen demanded. Zhao's eyes were wide as she stared at the readings. The quantum field, it's behaving in ways we never predicted. The energy levels are off the charts. The device began to vibrate, the hum growing louder. O'Neill stepped forward, concern etched on his face. Doctor, maybe we should shut it down. But before anyone could react, there was a brilliant flash of light from the chamber. For a moment, Chen felt as if the very fabric of reality around her had rippled. Then, as quickly as it had begun, it was over. The room was silent, everyone staring at the device in shock. The central chamber, which had been filled with mist moments ago, now contained what appeared to be a small, swirling vortex of energy. Zhao was the first to break the silence. Incredible, she breathed. We've created a stable micro-wormhole. Xanthor's lights pulsed rapidly, and Zhao translated. He says this is impossible. According to their physics, a wormhole of this size should collapse instantly. Chen stepped closer to the device, careful not to touch it. Is it dangerous? Zhao shook her head, her eyes never leaving the swirling vortex. No, it's completely contained within the chamber. But Captain, you don't understand. We've just done something that the entire galactic scientific community believed to be impossible. O'Neill frowned. How is that possible? We're not that far ahead of them, technologically. It's not about technology, Zhao explained, excitement creeping into her voice. It's about fundamental differences in how physics works for us. Somehow, the laws of nature behave differently for humans and on Earth than they do for the rest of the galaxy. The implications of this statement hung heavy in the air. Chen felt a chill run down her spine as she realized the true magnitude of what they had discovered. "Doctor," she said slowly, "are you saying that humans can break the laws of physics as the rest of the galaxy understands them?" Zhao nodded, a mix of excitement and trepidation in her eyes. "That's exactly what I'm saying, Captain, and this is just the beginning." The news of the experiment's success spread quickly through the ship and to the Zarketh vessel. Within hours, the lab was crowded with more scientists, all eager to study the impossible wormhole. Chen found herself in a heated discussion with the Zarketh leaders and her own command staff. The aliens' light patterns pulsed with what she had come to recognize as agitation. "They're saying this changes everything," Zhao translated. "Our ability to manipulate quantum fields in this way. It has implications for everything from energy production to faster-than-light travel." O'Neill leaned in, his voice low. "Captain, we need to be careful here. This kind of technology, in the wrong hands." Chen nodded, understanding his concern. The power to manipulate the fabric of space-time was not something to be taken lightly. "Tell the Zarketh that we're as surprised by these results as they are," she instructed Zhao. "We need time to understand what we've discovered before we can discuss its implications." As Zhao relayed the message, Chen couldn't help but notice the way the Zarketh's lights dimmed slightly. Were they disappointed? Concerned? It was still hard to read their alien expressions. Over the next few days, the horizon buzzed with activity. More experiments were conducted, each one pushing the boundaries of what was thought possible. They created miniature gravity wells, manipulated the flow of time within tiny areas, and even managed to briefly phase a small object out of normal space-time. With each success, the excitement among the human scientists grew. But Chen noticed a change in the Zarketh. They became more reserved, their light patterns more muted. She couldn't shake the feeling that they were reassessing their view of humanity. It all came to a head a week after the initial experiment. Chen was in her ready room when the call came from the lab. "Captain, you need to see this." Dr. Zhou's voice was tight with tension. When Chen arrived, she found the lab in an uproar. Human and Zarketh scientists were arguing, their voices and light patterns clashing in a cacophony of disagreement. "What's going on here?" Chen demanded. Zhao pulled her aside, her face pale. "Captain, we've made another breakthrough. We've found a way to manipulate quantum fields on a larger scale. In theory, we could use this technology to create weapons of unimaginable power." Chen felt her blood run cold. "How powerful are we talking?" "Powerful enough to tear a hole in the fabric of space-time," Zhao whispered. "Powerful enough to potentially destroy entire star systems." The implications hit Chen like a physical blow. This was beyond anything they had anticipated. The power they were unlocking could reshape the galaxy, or destroy it. "The Zarketh are demanding we stop all experiments immediately," Zhao continued. "They say we're meddling with forces we don't understand, that we're a danger to ourselves and the entire galaxy." Chen looked around the lab, at the faces of her crew and the pulsing lights of the Zarketh. The aliens' earlier fascination had been replaced by what she could only interpret as fear. They were afraid of what humanity could do with this knowledge. "Shut it down," Chen ordered, her voice firm. "All experiments are to cease immediately. We need to report this to Earth and await further instructions." As the scientists began powering down their equipment, Chen pulled O'Neill aside. "Commander, I want security doubled on all our research, and keep an eye on our guests. I have a feeling things are about to get complicated." O'Neill nodded grimly. "You think they might try to steal our research, or worse, destroy it?" "I don't know," Chen admitted. "But I do know that we've just changed the balance of power in the galaxy, and I'm not sure we're ready for what comes next." As she left the lab, Chen couldn't shake the feeling that they had opened Pandora's box. Humanity had dreamed of the stars for centuries, imagining a grand adventure of exploration and discovery. But now, faced with the reality of their own power and the fear it inspired in an advanced alien race, Chen wondered if they had been naive. The horizon hung in space, a tiny island of humanity in a vast alien sea. And as Chen looked out at the stars, she realized that their greatest challenge was just beginning. They had unlocked the secrets of the universe, but at what cost? And more importantly, what would they do with this newfound power? The fate of humanity, and perhaps the entire galaxy, now rested on the decisions they would make in the coming days. As Captain Sarah Chen prepared to contact Earth with their world-shaking discoveries, she couldn't help but wonder, had they taken their first steps towards a glorious future among the stars, or had they just sown the seeds of their own destruction? Paradigm shift. The tension aboard the Horizon was palpable. It had been 48 hours since Captain Sarah Chen had ordered a halt to all experiments and sent an emergency communique to Earth. The ship buzzed with nervous energy as crew members and scientists alike waited for a response from the United Earth government. Chen paced in her ready room, her mind racing. The discoveries they had made in the past week had the potential to revolutionize human understanding of the universe. But they also posed unprecedented risks. The fear she had seen in the Zarketh's reactions haunted her. A chime from her desk interrupted her thoughts. "Captain," Lieutenant Park's voice came through the comm. "We're receiving a priority transmission from Earth." Chen took a deep breath, steeling herself. "Put it through to my ready room." The view screen flickered to life, revealing not just Admiral Graves, but a panel of stern-faced individuals, the highest-ranking members of the United Earth Security Council. "Captain Chen," Admiral Graves began, her voice grave, "we've reviewed your reports. The implications of your discoveries are staggering." Chen nodded. "Yes, Admiral. We're still trying to come to terms with it ourselves." One of the council members, a sharp-featured woman Chen recognized as Dr. Ilara Vance, the head of Earth's Science Directorate, leaned forward. "Captain, your team's achievements are nothing short of revolutionary. The ability to manipulate quantum fields on this scale, it changes everything we thought we knew about physics. But it also presents significant risks," another council member interjected. General Marcus Thorne, Chen recalled, the head of Earth's defense forces. "The potential for this technology to be weaponized is a major concern." Chen felt a weight settle in her stomach. "We've had similar concerns, General. The Zarketh have expressed reservations about continuing our research." Admiral Graves' expression hardened. "Captain, I hope I don't need to remind you of the importance of safeguarding this information. Under no circumstances are the Zarketh to be given full access to our findings." "With all due respect, Admiral," Chen replied, choosing her words carefully, "the Zarketh scientists have been integral to these discoveries. It would be difficult, if not impossible, to exclude them entirely." Dr. Vance nodded. "The captain is right. Like it or not, this has been a collaborative effort. We can't simply cut the Zarketh out now." General Thorne's face reddened. "And risk them taking this technology and using it against us. We've seen how they reacted. They're afraid of what we can do. Who's to say they won't decide to eliminate the threat we pose?" The council erupted into heated debate. Chen watched, a sense of unease growing in her gut. Finally, Admiral Graves raised a hand, silencing the others. "Enough," she said firmly. "Captain Chen, your new orders are as follows. You are to continue your research, but with heightened security protocols. Share only what is absolutely necessary with the Zarketh. We need to understand the full extent of these discoveries before we decide how to proceed on a galactic scale." Chen frowned. "Admiral, if I may, the Zarketh are already suspicious. If we start withholding information, it could damage the trust we've built." "Your concerns are noted, Captain," Graves replied, her tone making it clear the decision was final. "But the security of Earth must come first. You have your orders." Graves out. As the transmission ended, Chen slumped in her chair. She had hoped for guidance, for a clear path forward. Instead, she found herself caught between the monumental scientific discoveries they were making and the growing distrust between humans and their alien collaborators. A chime at her door roused her from her thoughts. "Enter," she called. Commander O'Neill stepped in, his face grim. "Captain, we've got a situation in the main lab." Chen was on her feet immediately. "What's happened?" "It's Dr. Zhao," O'Neill replied as they hurried through the corridors. "She's refusing to lock down some of the research data. Says she won't be part of, and I quote, scientific segregation." Chen quickened her pace. She should have anticipated this. Amelia Zhao was a scientist first and foremost, driven by the pursuit of knowledge. The idea of withholding discoveries would be anathema to her. As they entered the lab, they found Dr. Zhao in a heated argument with several security officers. The Zarketh scientists stood to one side, their lights pulsing in patterns Chen had come to recognize as confusion and concern. "Dr. Zhao," Chen called out, her voice cutting through the commotion. "Stand down." Zhao turned, her eyes blazing with a mix of anger and desperation. "Captain, you can't be serious about this. These discoveries, they belong to all of us, human and Zarketh alike. We couldn't have done this without them." Chen approached slowly, keeping her voice calm. "I understand your frustration, Doctor, but we have our orders. The potential dangers of this technology are too great. We need time to understand what we're dealing with." "Dangers?" Zhao scoffed. "Captain, do you realize what we've accomplished here? We're rewriting the laws of physics. The potential benefits to humanity, to the entire galaxy, are immeasurable. And so are the risks," Chen countered. "Doctor, think about it. The ability to manipulate spacetime, to create weapons that could destroy entire star systems. In the wrong hands, this knowledge could devastate the galaxy." Zhao's shoulders slumped, the fight seeming to drain out of her. "But Captain, this isn't just about weapons. Think of the advances in medicine, in energy production, in space travel. We could solve so many of humanity's problems." Chen placed a hand on Zhao's shoulder. "I know, and we will. But we need to do this right. We need to understand the full implications of what we've discovered before we share it with the galaxy." After a moment, Zhao nodded reluctantly. I understand, Captain. I don't like it, but I understand." As the security team began the process of securing the sensitive data, Chen turned to address the Zarketh scientists. Their lights pulsed in patterns she couldn't quite decipher. "I apologize for this disruption," she began, hoping her words could be accurately translated. "I want to assure you that we value your contributions to this project. However, given the sensitive nature of our discoveries, we need to implement additional security measures." The lead Zarketh scientist, Xanthor, stepped forward. His lights pulsed in a complex pattern that Dr. Zhao, still looking dejected, translated. "He says they understand our caution, but they are concerned. They fear that by unlocking these secrets, we may be setting both our species on a dangerous path." Chen nodded solemnly. "We share those concerns. That's why we need time to fully understand what we've discovered. I hope we can continue to work together, even if some information must be compartmentalized for now." As Xanthor's lights pulsed in response, Chen couldn't shake the feeling that something fundamental had shifted in their relationship with the Zarketh. The initial wonder and excitement of first contact had given way to a wary tension. Over the next few days, work in the labs continued, but the atmosphere had changed. The easy collaboration between human and Zarketh scientists had been replaced by a cautious dance of shared discoveries and withheld information. Chen found herself spending more and more time mediating disputes and soothing ruffled feathers, or in the case of the Zarketh, flickering lights. It was during one such mediation session that the next major breakthrough occurred. Dr. Zhao and Xanthor had been arguing over the interpretation of some anomalous data when suddenly they both fell silent, staring at the screen in front of them. "Captain," Zhao called out, her voice trembling with excitement. "You need to see this." Chen hurried over, with Commander O'Neill close behind. "What am I looking at, Doctor?" Zhao's fingers flew over the console, bringing up a complex series of equations and diagrams. We've been trying to understand why our Deathworld physics behave differently from the rest of the galaxy, right? Well, I think we found the answer. Xanthor's lights pulsed rapidly, and Zhao nodded in agreement. Yes, exactly. Captain, we've discovered that the fundamental constants of the universe, things like the speed of light, the gravitational constant, the Planck constant, they're not as constant as we thought. O'Neill frowned. What do you mean, not constant? These are the bedrock of physics. In most of the galaxy, yes, Zhao explained, her words coming fast in her excitement. But we found that these constants can vary slightly in different regions of space. Earth, and a few other death worlds like it, exist in pockets where these constants are slightly different. Chen's mind reeled at the implications. Are you saying that the laws of physics themselves are different on Earth? Not different. Exactly, Zhao clarified. More like stretched. It's these slight variations that allow for phenomena that the rest of the galaxy considers impossible. Our ability to manipulate quantum fields, the stability of our micro-wormholes, it's all because we exist in one of these unique pockets of space. Xanthor's lights pulsed again, and Zhao translated. He says this explains why their physics couldn't account for our existence. To them, we're living in a reality that shouldn't be possible. O'Neill let out a low whistle. So we're not breaking the laws of physics. We're just playing with a different rulebook. Exactly, Zhao nodded enthusiastically. And here's the really exciting part. We think we might be able to artificially recreate these conditions. Imagine being able to adjust the fundamental constants of a given area of space. We could create zones where our impossible physics work anywhere in the galaxy. The implications hit Chen like a physical blow. The ability to alter the very fabric of reality at will. It was godlike power. And with it came godlike responsibility. Doctor, she said slowly, I hope you understand that this information cannot leave this room. Not yet. The potential for misuse. Zhao's excitement dimmed slightly, but she nodded. I understand, Captain. But this is too big to keep secret forever. This could revolutionize our understanding of the universe, our place in it. It changes everything. As Chen looked around the lab, at the human scientists buzzing with excitement, and the Zarketh pulsing with what she could only interpret as a mix of awe and trepidation, she realized that Zhao was right. This discovery would change everything. The balance of power in the galaxy, humanity's place among the stars, the very nature of reality itself, it was all about to be turned on its head. Commander, she said, turning to O'Neill, double the security on this lab. No one comes in or out without my direct authorization, and prepare a secure channel to Earth. The Council needs to know about this immediately. As O'Neill hurried off to carry out her orders, Chen took a moment to gaze out the lab's viewport at the stars beyond. Humanity had come seeking knowledge, seeking their place in a vast alien universe. Instead, they had found that they themselves were the aliens, the anomalies in a cosmos they were only beginning to understand. The horizon hung in space, a tiny vessel carrying a secret that could reshape the galaxy. And as Captain Sarah Chen prepared to inform Earth of their world-shattering discovery, she couldn't help but wonder, were they standing on the brink of a new golden age for humanity, or had they just opened Pandora's box? The stars twinkled silently, offering no answers. But Chen knew one thing for certain. The universe would never be the same again. Galactic consequences. The news of humanity's groundbreaking discoveries spread through the galaxy like wildfire. Despite the United Earth government's best efforts to keep the information contained, whispers of the impossible feats achieved aboard the horizon reached the farthest corners of known space. The reaction from the galactic community was swift and varied. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the horizon, watching as a fleet of alien ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel around them. It had been 3 weeks since their last major breakthrough, And in that time, the area of space around Earth had become a hub of interstellar activity. "Status report," Chen ordered, her voice calm despite the tension evident in her posture. Lieutenant Park's fingers danced over his console. "5 new vessels detected, Captain. Readings suggest they're from the Volux Confederacy. That makes representatives from over 20 different species in the vicinity now." Commander O'Neill stepped up beside Chen, his voice low. "It's getting crowded out there. We can't keep this up forever." Chen nodded grimly. The horizon had become an unwitting diplomatic hub, fielding inquiries, demands, and thinly veiled threats from across the galaxy. Some species were fascinated by the discoveries, eager to learn and collaborate. Others were terrified, seeing humanity's ability to manipulate the fundamental constants of the universe as an existential threat. "Captain," Dr. Zhou's voice came over the comm. "We're receiving a priority transmission from the Galactic Council. They're demanding an immediate audience." Chen felt a chill run down her spine. The Galactic Council, a loose confederation of the most powerful species in the known universe, had remained eerily silent until now. Their sudden interest could only mean one thing: the situation had escalated beyond their control. "Put them through to my ready room," Chen ordered. "Commander, you have the bridge." As Chen made her way to her ready room, she couldn't shake the feeling that they were standing on the precipice of something monumental. The discoveries made aboard the Horizon hadn't just changed humanity's understanding of the universe. They had upset the delicate balance of power that had existed in the galaxy for millennia. The view screen flickered to life as Chen entered her ready room, revealing a panel of diverse alien beings. At the center sat a Zarketh, its lights pulsing in complex patterns that Chen had come to recognize as a sign of agitation. "Captain Chen," the Zarketh began, its words translated by an unseen mechanism. "I am High Counselor Zinvora of the Galactic Council. We have convened this emergency session to address the crisis your species has instigated." Chen straightened, keeping her voice level. "High Counselor, I assure you that humanity has no hostile intentions. Our discoveries were made in the pursuit of scientific knowledge. Not. Your intentions are irrelevant," another counselor interrupted. This one was a Volux, a crystalline being that shimmered with inner light. "The fact remains that your species now possesses the ability to alter the fabric of reality itself. The potential for catastrophe is unacceptable." A third counselor, a gaseous entity contained within a translucent sphere, pulsed with colors as it spoke. "We have received reports of chaos spreading throughout the galaxy. Minor species are clamoring for access to your technology. Trade routes have been disrupted as ships detour to your sector. There are even whispers of preemptive military action against Earth." Chen felt her heart race, but kept her expression neutral. "Counselors, I understand your concerns, but surely you can see the potential benefits of our discoveries. The ability to manipulate fundamental constants could revolutionize energy production, space travel, even the terraforming of hostile worlds. At what cost?" The Zarketh counselor's lights pulsed intensely. "Captain, you don't understand the forces you're dealing with. The ability to alter reality at will. It's not just dangerous, it's cosmic heresy. There are laws of nature that should not be broken." Chen leaned forward, her voice firm. "With all due respect, Counselor, we haven't broken any laws of nature. We've simply discovered that they're more flexible than previously thought. Humanity has no desire for conflict. We want to work with the galactic community to share our knowledge for the benefit of all." The counselors exchanged glances, or their species equivalent. Finally, the Volux spoke again. "Your words are admirable, Captain Chen, but the fact remains that humanity now possesses power beyond its comprehension. The Council has reached a decision." Chen felt a sense of dread settle in her stomach. "And what decision is that?" The Zarketh Counselor's lights pulsed solemnly. "For the safety of the galaxy, Earth is to be quarantined. No ships will be allowed in or out of your solar system. You will cease all research into reality manipulation immediately. Failure to comply will result in more drastic measures." Chen's mind raced. Quarantine. It was unthinkable. Humanity had just taken its first steps into the galactic community, and now they were being told to retreat back to their home system. Counselors, she began, fighting to keep her voice steady. I must protest. This decision is. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the ship. O'Neill's voice came urgently over the comm. Captain, to the bridge immediately. We've got multiple ships powering up weapons. Chen's blood ran cold. She turned back to the view screen, where the counselors watched impassively. What is the meaning of this? She demanded. The Volix counselor's crystalline form shimmered. Insurance, Captain Chen. To ensure your compliance. The quarantine begins now. As the transmission cut off, Chen raced to the bridge. The scene that greeted her was one of barely controlled chaos. The view screen showed dozens of alien ships, their weapons primed and aimed at the horizon, and the other human vessels in the vicinity. Report. Chen barked as she took her place at the command chair. O'Neill's voice was tense. Multiple hostile ships, Captain. They formed a blockade around our position. We're being hailed by everyone. Chen's mind raced. They were outnumbered and outgunned. Even with their advanced understanding of physics, there was no way they could fight their way out of this. But surrender wasn't an option either. The fate of humanity hung in the balance. Open a channel to Earth, she ordered. And get me Dr. Zhao. I think it's time we show the galaxy what humanity is really capable of. As the crew scrambled to carry out her orders, Chen stared out at the armada arrayed against them. They had come seeking knowledge, seeking their place among the stars. Instead, they had found fear, mistrust, and now the threat of violence. But Chen knew one thing. Humanity had not come this far, had not unraveled the secrets of the cosmos, only to be cowed back into isolation. One way or another, they would forge their path among the stars. The next few hours were a blur of frantic activity. As the alien fleet maintained its blockade, the horizon became the center of a diplomatic and scientific whirlwind. Dr. Zhao and her team worked tirelessly, pushing the boundaries of their newfound understanding of physics. Meanwhile, Chen found herself in non-stop negotiations with Earth and the various alien factions. We can't accept this quarantine. Admiral Graves' hologram flickered as she addressed Chen and the senior staff. Humanity has worked too hard, come too far, to be confined to our solar system now. Chen nodded grimly. I agree, Admiral, but we're seriously outgunned here. If we make a move against the blockade, it could spark a war we're not prepared to fight. Dr. Zhao stepped forward, her eyes bright with a mix of excitement and apprehension. Captain, Admiral, I think we might have a solution. It's risky, but, it might be our only option. All eyes turned to the scientist as she pulled up a series of complex diagrams on the main view screen. We've been working on applying our understanding of variable physical constants on a larger scale. In theory, we could create a bubble of altered spacetime around the Earth and our fleet. O'Neill frowned. A bubble? What good would that do against their weapons? Chen's blood ran cold. She turned back to the view screen, where the counselors watched impassively. What is the meaning of this? She demanded. The Volix counselor's crystalline form shimmered. Insurance, Captain Chen. To ensure your compliance. The quarantine begins now. As the transmission cut off, Chen raced to the bridge. The scene that greeted her was one of barely controlled chaos. The view screen showed dozens of alien ships, their weapons primed and aimed at the horizon, and the other human vessels in the vicinity. Report. Chen barked as she took her place at the command chair. O'Neill's voice was tense. Multiple hostile ships, Captain. They'd formed a blockade around our position. We're being hailed by everyone. Chen's mind raced. They were outnumbered and outgunned. Even with their advanced understanding of physics, there was no way they could fight their way out of this. But surrender wasn't an option either. The fate of humanity hung in the balance. Open a channel to Earth, she ordered. And get me Dr. Zhao. I think it's time we show the galaxy what humanity is really capable of." As the crew scrambled to carry out her orders, Chen stared out at the armada arrayed against them. They had come seeking knowledge, seeking their place among the stars. Instead, they had found fear, mistrust, and now, the threat of violence. But Chen knew one thing. Humanity had not come this far, had not unraveled the secrets of the cosmos, only to be cowed back into isolation. One way or another, they would forge their path among the stars. The next few hours were a blur of frantic activity. As the alien fleet maintained its blockade, the horizon became the center of a diplomatic and scientific whirlwind. Dr. Zhao and her team worked tirelessly, pushing the boundaries of their newfound understanding of physics. Meanwhile, Chen found herself in non-stop negotiations with Earth and the various alien factions. "We can't accept this quarantine." Admiral Graves' hologram flickered as she addressed Chen and the senior staff. "Humanity has worked too hard, come too far, to be confined to our solar system now." Chen nodded grimly. "I agree, Admiral. But we're seriously outgunned here. If we make a move against the blockade, it could spark a war we're not prepared to fight." Dr. Zhao stepped forward, her eyes bright with a mix of excitement and apprehension. "Captain, Admiral, I think we might have a solution. It's risky, but, well, it might be our only option." All eyes turned to the scientist as she pulled up a series of complex diagrams on the main view screen. "We've been working on applying our understanding of variable physical constants on a larger scale. In theory, we could create a bubble of altered spacetime around the Earth and our fleet." O'Neill frowned. "A bubble? What good would that do against their weapons?" Zhao's excitement was palpable. "That's just it, Commander. Within this bubble, we could slightly alter the fundamental constants of reality. Their weapons, their sensors, even their FTL drives, none of it would work quite right. We'd essentially be creating a safe zone where we have the home field advantage." A stunned silence fell over the room as the implications sank in. Admiral Graves was the first to speak. "Doctor, are you saying we could create a reality bubble around Earth?" Zhao nodded. "Essentially, yes. It wouldn't be permanent, and maintaining it would require immense energy. But it could give us the edge we need to negotiate from a position of strength." Chen felt a mix of awe and trepidation. The power to alter reality itself, it was godlike and terrifying. "What are the risks, Doctor?" Zhao's excitement dimmed slightly. "They're significant, Captain. We'd be manipulating the fabric of space-time on a scale we've never attempted before. If something goes wrong, the consequences could be catastrophic. We could accidentally create a black hole, or worse." The room fell silent again as the weight of the decision settled on them. It was O'Neill who finally broke the silence. "Not much of a choice, is it? Either we take this risk, or we let the galaxy dictate our future." Chen looked around the room, meeting the eyes of each of her senior staff. She saw fear there, yes, but also determination. Humanity had come too far to turn back now. "Dr. Zhao," she said, her voice firm, "begin preparations immediately. Admiral Graves, we'll need every ounce of power Earth can provide. It's time to show the galaxy what humanity is truly capable of." As the orders were relayed and the ship burst into frenzied activity, Chen turned to stare out at the alien armada. In a few hours, they would either change the course of human history or go down in a blaze of unparalleled cosmic disaster. The next few hours were a hurricane of activity. Every available power source on Earth and in the human fleet was rerouted to support Dr. Zhao's audacious plan. The horizon itself became the focal point, its systems pushed to the brink as it prepared to generate a field that would alter the very nature of reality around them. As the final preparations were made, Chen addressed her crew and, by extension, all of humanity. "We stand at a crossroads," she began, her voice carried to every human ship and back to Earth itself. "The galaxy has seen our potential and reacted with fear. They seek to confine us, to limit our growth. But humanity has never been one to accept limitations. She paused, looking around at the determined faces of her crew. What we attempt today has never been done before. We are about to rewrite the laws of physics on a scale that most species can't even comprehend. The risks are enormous, but so are the stakes. This is our moment to secure humanity's place among the stars. As her words echoed across human space, Chen turned to Dr. Zhao. "Are we ready, Doctor?" Zhao nodded, her fingers poised over the controls. "As ready as we'll ever be, Captain. On your command." Chen took a deep breath, acutely aware that this moment would be remembered for generations to come, one way or another. Initiate the reality bubble. At first, nothing seemed to happen. Then, slowly, a shimmer began to spread out from the horizon. It was subtle at first, like a heat haze on a summer day. But it quickly grew, encompassing the human fleet, then stretching out towards Earth. Alarms blared on the alien ships as their sensors detected the anomaly. Several vessels opened fire, their energy weapons lancing out towards the human ships. But as the beams hit the edge of the reality bubble, something strange happened. They bent, twisted, and in some cases, simply winked out of existence. "It's working," Zhao exclaimed, her eyes wide as she stared at the readings. "The altered constants are playing havoc with their technology. Their weapons are useless." Chen allowed herself a small smile. "Transmit to all alien vessels. As you can see, we are now operating under different laws of physics. I suggest we reopen negotiations." The response was immediate and chaotic. Some ships attempted to flee, their engines sputtering as they tried to jump to FTL speeds in a region where the speed of light itself had been subtly altered. Others continued to fire ineffectually at the bubble. And some, perhaps the wisest, simply held their positions, waiting to see what would happen next. As the reality bubble stabilized, encompassing Earth and a significant portion of the solar system, Chen felt a weight lift from her shoulders. They had done it. Humanity had carved out a safe haven in a hostile galaxy, a place where they could continue to grow and explore without fear of external threats. But as she looked out at the stars, distorted by the bubble of altered spacetime that now surrounded them, Chen knew that this was just the beginning. They had changed the rules of the game, and the galaxy would never be the same. The real challenge now lay ahead, navigating this new reality, balancing their newfound power with responsibility, and finding a way to coexist with a galaxy that now viewed them with a mixture of fear, awe, and grudging respect. As the horizon hung in space, at the center of a bubble of altered reality, Captain Sarah Chen prepared to address the galaxy. Humanity's future among the stars was uncertain, but one thing was clear. They would face that future on their own terms. A new era dawns. The weeks following the creation of Earth's reality bubble were a whirlwind of diplomatic activity. The horizon, once a simple exploration vessel, had become the center of a new era in galactic politics. Captain Sarah Chen found herself thrust into the role of humanity's primary diplomat, negotiating with species from across the known universe. As Chen prepared for yet another round of talks, she gazed out at the shimmering edge of the reality bubble. The distortion was subtle, barely visible to the naked eye, but its implications were profound. Within this sphere, humanity was safe from external threats, free to continue their research and development without fear of interference. Commander O'Neill approached, his face a mask of careful neutrality. "Another delegation has arrived, Captain. The Krex Imperium this time." Chen nodded, suppressing a sigh. The Krex were a militaristic species, known for their aggressive expansion. Their arrival could complicate an already delicate situation. "Very well, Commander. Let's go greet our guests." As they made their way to the conference room, Chen reflected on the rapidly changing galactic landscape. The initial shock of humanity's feat had given way to a complex web of alliances, threats, and negotiations. Some species saw humans as potential allies, eager to benefit from their revolutionary understanding of physics. Others viewed them as a threat to be contained or destroyed. The conference room doors slid open, revealing a group of towering insectoid aliens. The Krex delegation stood nearly 9 feet tall, their chitinous exoskeletons gleaming under the ship's lights. Their mandibles clicked in what Chen had learned was a sign of agitation. "Captain Chen," the lead Krex growled, its translator struggling to convey the complex harmonics of its native speech. "The Krex Imperium demands an explanation for this abomination you have created." Chen straightened, meeting the alien's compound eyes without flinching. "High Commander, the reality bubble is a defensive measure, nothing more. We have no hostile intentions towards the Krex or any other species." The Krex's antennae twitched. "You alter the very fabric of space-time and claim it is not an act of aggression. Your species wields power it does not understand, power that threatens the stability of the entire galaxy." Before Chen could respond, a new voice cut in. "Perhaps the Krex are simply afraid of what they do not understand." All heads turned to see Dr. Amelia Zhao entering the room, a datapad clutched in her hands. Chen felt a mix of relief and apprehension at the scientist's arrival. Zhao's brilliance was undeniable, but her enthusiasm sometimes outpaced her diplomacy. "Dr. Zhao," Chen said carefully, "perhaps you could explain to the High Commander the true nature of our work." Zhao nodded, her eyes bright with barely contained excitement. "Of course, Captain. High Commander, what you call an abomination is actually the key to unlocking the true potential of our universe." The scientist tapped her data pad, and a holographic display sprang to life in the center of the room. It showed a complex network of swirling energies and mathematical equations. "What you're seeing is a model of our reality bubble," Zhao explained. "But it's more than just a defensive shield. By altering the fundamental constants of physics within this space, we've opened up possibilities that were once thought to be mere fantasy." The Krex delegation chittered among themselves, their compound eyes fixed on the display. The High Commander's mandibles clicked rapidly. "Explain." Zhao's smile widened. "Gladly. Within our bubble, we've already achieved what many would consider miracles. We've developed energy sources that tap directly into the quantum foam of spacetime. We're on the verge of perfecting matter replication technology, and our faster-than-light travel capabilities now far exceed anything seen in the rest of the galaxy." Chen watched the Krex carefully as Zhao spoke. She could see the shift in their body language, from aggressive posturing to genuine interest. It was a dance she had seen played out with dozens of species over the past weeks. Initial fear and hostility giving way to curiosity, and inevitably, desire. The High Commander's antennae quivered. "And what does humanity intend to do with these miracles?" It was Chen who answered, stepping forward to stand beside Zhao. "That, High Commander, is why we've been inviting delegations from across the galaxy. We stand at the dawn of a new era, one that could benefit all species. But it must be approached with caution and cooperation." She gestured to the holographic display, where the model of the reality bubble pulsed gently. "What we've created here is not a weapon or a shield, but a crucible, a place where the brightest minds from across the galaxy can come together to explore the true nature of our universe." The Krex were silent for a long moment, their compound eyes unreadable. Finally, the High Commander spoke. "You propose an exchange of knowledge." Chen nodded. "More than that. We propose a partnership. The power we've unlocked is too great for any one species to wield alone. We need the wisdom and perspective of all galactic cultures to ensure it's used responsibly." As the negotiations continued, Chen couldn't help but feel a sense of déjà vu. This scene had played out countless times over the past weeks, with species from across the known universe. Each time, the dance was the same: initial hostility, followed by curiosity, and finally, a tentative agreement to collaborate. Hours later, as the Krex delegation departed with promises of future cooperation, Chen found herself once again staring out at the shimmering edge of the reality bubble. Commander O'Neill joined her, his expression thoughtful. "Another successful negotiation, Captain," he said. "But I can't help wondering, where does it all lead?" Chen sighed, the weight of recent events heavy on her shoulders. That, Jack, is the question that keeps me up at night. She turned to face her first officer, her expression serious. We've changed everything. Not just for humanity, but for the entire galaxy. The power we're dealing with, it's beyond anything we could have imagined when we first set out to explore the stars. O'Neill nodded grimly. Power that could reshape worlds, alter the course of evolution, maybe even create or destroy entire universes. It's a heavy burden, and one we can't bear alone. Chen agreed. That's why these negotiations are so crucial. We need the collective wisdom of the galaxy if we're going to navigate this new reality responsibly. As if on cue, Dr. Zhou's voice came over the comm. Captain, Commander, you need to see this. We've had a breakthrough in the quantum entanglement lab. Exchanging glances, Chen and O'Neill hurried to the lab. They found Zhao practically bouncing with excitement, surrounded by a team of human and alien scientists. The lab itself was a testament to the new era of cooperation, with technology from a dozen different species working in harmony. What have you found, Doctor? Chen asked. Zhao gestured to a complex apparatus in the center of the room. We've managed to establish quantum entanglement between particles inside and outside the reality bubble. It's the first step towards being able to extend our altered physics beyond the bubble's boundaries. The implications hit Chen like a physical blow. If they could project their altered physics into normal space, the possibilities were endless and terrifying. Doctor, she said carefully, I hope you understand the gravity of this discovery. The ability to alter reality at will, anywhere in the galaxy, it could be seen as an act of war by many species. Zhao's excitement dimmed slightly. I understand, Captain, but think of the potential benefits. We could terraform hostile planets in a matter of days, neutralize supernovas, maybe even prevent the heat death of the universe itself. O'Neill stepped forward, his voice low. Or we could accidentally unravel the fabric of space-time and destroy everything we've ever known. A heavy silence fell over the lab. Chen looked around at the assembled scientists, human and alien alike, and saw the same mix of excitement and fear in all their eyes. They stood on the brink of becoming gods, with all the power and responsibility that entailed. We need to proceed with extreme caution, Chen said finally. This discovery doesn't leave this room until we've had a chance to consult with the Galactic Council and our own government. The consequences are too great for us to act unilaterally. As the scientists nodded in agreement, Chen felt the weight of command settle even more heavily on her shoulders. They had set out to explore the stars, to find humanity's place in the cosmos. Instead, they had stumbled upon power beyond imagining, power that could reshape the very nature of existence. The coming days, weeks, and years would be crucial. Humanity would need to navigate a delicate balance between exploration and responsibility, between the pursuit of knowledge and the need for caution. They would need to forge alliances, build trust, and prove to the galaxy that they were worthy of the power they now wielded. As Chen left the lab, her mind raced with the possibilities and dangers that lay ahead. The reality bubble around Earth was no longer just a defensive measure. It had become a symbol of humanity's potential, a beacon that would draw species from across the cosmos. The horizon hung in space, at the center of a bubble of altered reality, surrounded by ships from 100 different worlds. And as Captain Sarah Chen prepared to address the newly formed Galactic Cooperative, she knew that this was just the beginning. Humanity had reshaped the laws of physics. Now they would need to reshape their understanding of their place in the universe. The stars beckoned, filled with endless possibilities and untold dangers. And humanity, for better or worse, would answer that call. As Chen stepped onto the bridge, she gazed out at the shimmering barrier that separated their altered reality from the rest of the cosmos. Beyond that barrier lay a galaxy forever changed by humanity's discoveries, a galaxy that now looked to Earth with a mixture of fear, awe, and hope. Your orders, Captain? O'Neill asked, standing ready at her side. Chen took a deep breath, feeling the weight of history on her shoulders. "Take us out, Commander. It's time we showed the galaxy what humanity is truly capable of." The Horizon's engines hummed to life, and the ship moved forward, pushing gently against the boundary of the reality bubble. For a moment, it seemed as if the very fabric of space-time held its breath. Then, with a flash of light and a ripple of distorted space, the Horizon passed through. They emerged into a cosmos that looked the same as it always had, but Chen knew that everything had changed. Humanity had taken its first steps into a larger universe, armed with knowledge that could reshape reality itself. As the stars streaked by, marking the beginning of a new journey, Chen couldn't help but smile. They had come seeking their place among the stars. Instead, they had found the power to rewrite the very laws of the cosmos. The future was uncertain, filled with both promise and peril. But one thing was clear: humanity's adventure among the stars was just beginning, and it promised to be an adventure unlike any the galaxy had ever seen.